Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Anthony Cortez. I'm here today doing a ranking of the top 10 Beach Boys songs. A little backstory on the Beach Boys. We all are familiar with the Beach Boys. They're one of America's biggest bands. You know, they're known for sort of surf rock, fun, dance, I get around music. But they're deeper than that. If you're not familiar with their music, they're way more deeper than that. I mean, in my opinion, they've created some of the most experimental and beautiful music in history. So, I mean, Pet Sounds, considered one of the greatest albums of all time. Paul McCartney says God Only Knows is the best song ever written. So, the Beach Boys consists of Brian Wilson, Dennis Wilson, Carl Wilson, Al Jardine, Mike Love. Brian Wilson as lead producer, lead songwriter. Let's get right into it, man. Number 10, Surfer Girl. I had to include like one of these sort of more standard pop songs, but man, I'm telling you, just because it's, pop doesn't mean it's bad. And this song isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's funny because this song has a lot of falsetto vocals, and when they were first playing this song live, they used to get laughs sometimes from the crowd when they would start this, but when you listen, you start to fall in love with it. Surfer Girl is a beautiful song with some great falsetto group vocals, and the melodies and the shifting chord changes, especially when it shifts up a step. It's beautiful. It's great stuff. It's good pop music. I just wanted to include it because I'm in love with it. It's catchy. It has a great vibe, and the production is good, and it rocks. So, Surfer Girl, number 10. Number 9, All I Want to Do. This song literally created a new genre of music. Dream pop, vaporwave, synth pop. That stuff was because of this song. I mean, Mike Love has falsetto vocals on this song, so it automatically makes it into the top 10. I mean, just beautiful stuff. I mean, really good. Catchy. Carl Wilson. You can hear Brian Wilson in the backing vocals, Al Jardine, Carl Wilson singing some counter lines to Mike Love's All I Want to Do. And I mean, just the guitars that are on here has a sort of classic Beach Boys twang, but then the drums and then the keyboards. I mean, it's a transcendent piece of music that created a new genre. So it's on the list at number 9. Number 8, Till I Die. Just off the lyrics alone, it's a 10 out of 10. The sort of wishy-washy stuff. I'm a cork on the ocean, floating over the raging sea. How long does the wind blow? How long does the wind blow? I mean, come on. It's beautiful. I love the shifting, changes and modes where it's minor and then it's major and then it's minor and then it's major, but it doesn't feel jarring. It flows beautifully. And of course, the backing vocals and the harmonies and the melodies, the Beach Boys stuff that we love in tip-top shape on one of the best albums, Surf's Up. And what I love about this song, and especially Feel Flows, which is coming up later, it feels complete. It feels like you're listening in this album in that album cover, if that makes any sense at all. But Till I Die is about being scared about dying. I mean, it's delivered with such grace and such sensitivity that it's really breathtaking. No, you're breathtaking. Number 7, In My Room. I remember first listening to the song and thinking like, oh, it's going to be like Surfer Girl. It's going to be like I Get Around, or like, your standard pop drivel. And then it changes and it shifts down. And then all of a sudden you're in this new landscape where Brian Wilson talks about escaping from the world, meditating, praying to God in his room, his only safe place. Because his home life was so chaotic and everything was just beaming down on him, As a young man in the world, it's really difficult. Carl Wilson's playing on here is great. I mean, obviously Dennis Wilson plays great drums. And it's recorded well, but these backing vocals that are just huge, gigantic, nothing beats it, man. I mean, it's great pop music. And just because it's pop music doesn't mean it's bad. I can't believe that. People don't understand that yet. Number 6, Cabin Essence. This song was actually supposed to be part of Smile, a record that Brian Wilson was working on after Pet Sounds. that he never finished. They poured a fuck ton of money into it and worked a long ass time on it. And it was almost finished. All they had to do was finish, vocal harmonies and piece it together and piece the whole sequencing of the album together. But one of the songs that was completely finished was Cabin Essence. Here's the thing about Carl Wilson. Carl Wilson has one of the best voices, period. Top 5 singer? Yeah, probably. He has such a soft timbre to his voice, kind of like mine when I sing. He sang on some of the best, biggest selling songs ever. Good Vibrations. He sings the lead on that. So, and the way he performs, I'll give you a house on the rain. That's great. But not just the performance, but the actual songwriting is amazing too. It's about the turn of the century, about living on a prairie in the West, living in a cabin, and the train, the railroad. Great stuff. Just poetry alone and the backstory alone, it's great. Just the actual song itself. I don't know how much more to explain it other than go listen to it, because some of the chords here that are played are super complex. Bunch of diminished, flat, inverted shit. But it doesn't feel like jazz. It feels like folk. And it feels like, in that chorus especially, you're falling through the clouds, or you're on a train that's going a million miles an hour. Beautifully conceptualized and beautifully executed. And I'm still of the opinion that if Smile was completed, it would have changed music forever. Music would not be the same today. Not even close. Number 5, Feel Flows off of Surf's Up. Surf's Up, I love. The album's great. And Feel Flows is one of those moments where you listen to something and you wonder, how the fuck did you write that? Like, what goes through your brain when you're writing something like this? I'm not exactly sure what the lyrics are about or what it's talking about, but I don't care because it flows so beautifully. This is a Carl Wilson song track. He produced this all by himself and recorded it all by himself. One of his tracks that he wrote by himself. And it's great. It has this great transcendent quality. It kind of reminds me of God Only Knows in the way that it's arranged in the rhythm section. It kind of reminds me of that. But it also feels like it's underwater. I have this thing that I think where I feel like I'm listening to the songs on Surf's Up inside the cover of Surf's Up, if that makes any sense. Surf's Up is just a beautifully conceptualized album. But that's just a little bit of what I think. But Carl Wilson's backing vocals. I have this Feel Flows fucking disc that has like an excerpt of the backing vocals. It's like the angels calling down. It's beautiful. And the bridge of the song where it's like this weird fucking wow, 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 wow. That sounds weird, but it works. Not like Genesis Dodo Lurker with the worst keyboard tone in the Number 4. Good Vibrations. Best-selling single from them. Good Vibrations is considered the best pop song ever. One of the best songs ever. For good reason. It's incredible. It's incredible. The opening line. Carol Kay. Carl Wilson with his beautiful singing on the vocals. He's saying, in the verses. Beautiful. And Mike Love's Good Vibration chorus. Good job, Mike Love. That's good shit. I love it, man. It was supposed to be on Smile. And like I said, if that came out, it would have changed music forever. We don't have to talk too much about Good Vibrations because you probably heard it. If you haven't, go listen to it. You'll love it. Especially the end, 2 minutes, or the end minute where it just changes. It just, all the instruments go away and it's just organ and then it's just vocals and it's gotta keep those loving good vibrations are happening with her. There is like a vocal tag in the Smile Sessions version of it where they introduce a motif from Hawaii, which was on Smile Sessions, that kind of brings it full circle because Good Vibrations was actually supposed to be a part of Smile. I like that version a lot more than the official single version that we have. I think the beautiful great stuff. And that theremin, man, that fucking theremin. Number 3, Don't Talk. The first time I listened to this, I almost cried. If there was one word I can explain what this song is like, it's the expression of love coming through your speakers into your brain and touching your soul. The way it starts is amazing, okay? With the cello just, and the drums just on the right cymbal just, tss, 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 and the bass just, boom, 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 and the organ in the background, and the guitars doing a little tremolo here and there. Glassy guitars, and it's just beautiful. The instrumental itself is beautiful, but the fucking vocals, holy shit, man. Brian Wilson sings this, and the lyrics are great, talking about comforting your loved one, loving somebody, and Brian Wilson's performance on it is great, and his vocals are amazing. My favorite line is, "Feel my heartbeat." I mean, the way he sings it, my heartbeat. I mean, this isn't stuff you just work on. It comes from the inside of you and it comes out. I doubt we're going to get a song that touches the soul like that nowadays. Because back then, man, Pet Sounds is considered the greatest album of all time, greatest produced album ever, one of the greatest productions ever. I mean, you hire the best musicians at the time to play in a room and record them. They record your music amazing. It's like big band, but rock and experimental, and it's fucking awesome. It's amazing. I'm still baffled that this album didn't sell as well as their others. I mean, obviously, with hindsight, we understand now that it's amazing. And even then, at the time, critics called it the best, but it didn't sell, which is unfortunate, because if it did, holy shit. And I'm still of the opinion that if Smile released number 2, I have a lot of trouble ranking this. I don't know what is number 2, because number 1 and number 2 are just so close. I have to rank it, so I will. Number 2, Surf's Up. Surf's Up was also a track from Smile that was completed and then was subsequently released on the album Surf's Up, and then they named the album after the song Surf's Up. Now, this is a song that baffles me every time I hear it, and it baffles me in 2 ways: in amazement and genuine confusion, because the lyrics, I don't know what the fuck it's talking about. I remember people going in-depth analysis about what it's about. I still personally don't understand. But the lyrics that are sung and that are written are perfect for this song. Heart-hardened eye, beyond belief, a broken man, too young to cry. Surf's up, aboard a tidal wave. They kind of reference their music, from the past, saying the past is over, we have to move on. That I kind of get from the song, but the child, father of the man motif at the end, that ending section is beautiful. It still baffles me every time. I can't really go too in depth unless you listen to it. And if you haven't listened to it before, then you're fucking missing out, because this genuinely feels like somebody not from this earth wrote this. Somebody who had a higher connection with a higher power wrote this. I mean, Brian Wilson said so himself. He felt like the hand of God was holding him through everything. Number 1, God Only Knows. Yeah, Carl Wilson sings on this. The production on this is beautiful. The strings are beautiful. And my favorite section of the whole song is when it's just the vocal melodies just building on top of each other and then cascading onto a final chord. And then that last verse to that chorus is, every time I listen to it, I cry. I'm not afraid to say that. Paul McCartney said it himself. It's the greatest song ever written. And he's right. That song will transcend time. Nothing comes close. Nothing sounds like it sonically. Songwriting-wise, I mean, the level of originality, but also influences from the classical music of the strings. I mean, come on. How do you come up with this? What goes through your brain? And that's just the beauty of Brian Wilson and his genius. If you didn't know, Brian Wilson is a musical genius. If you didn't know by the 10 songs I just, fucking talked to you about. Pet Sounds will live forever. And I know in some other multiverse universe, Smile did release, and the history of music changed. If you haven't listened to Smile even, or any of the Beach Boys records, I really recommend you should. Buy the essentials: Surf's Up, Sunflower, Smile Sessions, Pet Sounds. listen to them, and I know it will change the way you listen to music, because it's changed the way I write music, what I think of when I'm writing music, and how I sing. I mean, Carl Wilson has been such an inspiration to me in phrasing and showing soul and emotion in music. I mean, that guy's just always awesome. Yeah, but the Beach Boys will live on forever. And that was my list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be doing some more stuff with other music soon, around the corner, later maybe. Let me know what else you want to talk about. I like talking, so that's all for here. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what you want to see next. Have a good one. Have a drink. Be happy. Take care of your loved ones. See you later.